So my question is having to do with the struggle against thoughts. And there's a particular kind of thought pattern that I wanted to ask you about that I have noticed is particularly difficult to let go of, related to feeling unfairly treated, judged, cut down, and particularly not by people what we can regard as opponents or enemies, that's easy, but by people we want to think of as friends. And I wondered if you have, and colleagues, and I wonder if you have any thoughts about how to release the pain and the spiraling thinking associated with that particular kind of thought pattern and situation.
I know what you mean, because I have myself been through this. You know, it's, when you say this, it appears as if at a very young age I'm talking myself. Because you know, when at a very young age I turned direction in life, and people who are your relatives, your friends, they suddenly turn against you and say, oh, this guy is crazy. You know what I mean. And then they hurt you in some way, hoping probably that he will turn back or something like that. So I have been through all this, and I think the only way to deal with this is to forget and forgive. There is no other shortcut for this. Honestly, I am telling you, there is no other way. Now I must tell you something very interesting. When I first went to my teacher, Maheshwarnath, well, he is a unique teacher because he didn't have an organization or a banner or anything of that kind. At least we have a Satsang Foundation. He had no foundations. He was foundation-less. And when I went to him and I was learning to meditate, he said, sit down, watch your breath, calm your mind. I could do everything, except that there was one guy who, when I was very young, gave me a lot of trouble. So whenever I sat and cleared the mind, this guy would appear before. In my mind, of course, he wouldn't appear, actually, it would come. And so one day, the teacher, who had this unique capacity to look at me and figure out what's going on inside, which I found out after some years, came to me and said, what are you meditating upon? I said, I'm trying to keep my mind quiet. He said, who is this guy standing before you? I said, well, someone I don't like. How do I sit down now? This keeps coming every day. How do I get rid of this pain? Memories. And he said, next time when you sit down to meditate, no, he didn't come every day, sometimes. He said, make it a point to conjure him up in your mind every day, even if he doesn't come. So my first reaction, of course, was, no, I can't do this. But then he insisted, you do it. This is a technique. He said, do it. Conjure up his image in front of you. And then I said, then what? Then he said, offer some flowers at his feet and say, your God in human form, come to help me out, to clear my mind. I said, Babaji, this is impossible. Can you teach me some other technique? He said, look, when you came, you said you'll do what I say, right? I said, yes, do it. So I did it. Believe me, first 3 days it was very difficult. 4th day it was great. 5th day it was better. And in a week's time, roughly, I can't count the days, in a week's time, even if I tried to conjure this guy, he never came because he didn't want the flowers. Seriously, this is something that happened to me. So I think we should work on it. The other thing I want to say is very important. We live with this kind of thing all our life till it becomes a festering wound in us. Suppose 10 years ago, you slapped me. Suppose you didn't. You stabbed me. Actually, how long does the slap last? How long? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? 1 day? If it was very bad, you might have lost your tooth. Then it takes a little more time. But then it's over after that, right? Physically, as an act, it is over. But we would never let it go. We keep it in our minds, And there's a tape, there's a CD playing all the time. Oh, this guy slapped me, this guy slapped. The slap is gone. But I'm not ready to let go of it, hoping that 20 years later I might slap you back in revenge. The guy who slapped me might have died. Who knows? But I won't let it go. So when you look at this carefully, all that is there of the hurt is the CD that's playing. Nothing else is there. Actually, it's not there. It's like, so one day you should get up and open the window and say, this CD I don't like. I mean, it's possible. It's not easy, but it's possible to do that because it no more exists except in our mind. So if we can understand this and try to get rid of it, then you can sleep also peacefully and wake up. So I always say when you go to sleep, sleep is like a mini death. You don't know anything. Yeah? And then you wake up and you again life, rebirth. So when you go to sleep, can you say, this is finished. Tomorrow is a new day for me. I know of husbands and wives who have lived a married life for 30 years and after the first week they really haven't seen each other's face because they have formed opinions about them and they are seeing through the opinions, not actually. So we should freshen up our mind periodically, wash the muck out and try to be free. This doesn't need any religion, it needs some work. And the understanding that you're better without it.